Hi guys, and welcome to another edition of Pulse. And this week I'm joined by Jamie Walton, who's not only a cellist, but also a music festival coordinator and curator, and has now just started his own record label as well. So thank you very much for being here, Jamie.
Pleasure.
Stunning settings here in North Yorkshire. It's absolutely gorgeous. So first of all, how did you get into becoming a cellist? And obviously that's your main part of your career.
Sure. When I was very young, about 7 years old, I remember I actually heard the violin and a recording of Menuhin, and I remember bursting up crying and thought, well, I have to make a sound like that. And but I didn't feel the violin was for me, and I heard some cellists at school, just a normal school in Reading, and I went up to the teacher and said, I want to be a cellist. And quite embarrassingly, she said, well, that's marvellous, you must join my class. And I said, I can't, because I have to have my own lesson. So she said, oh, that's interesting. I'll have to ask permission for that. I'm still in touch with her, so she always tells this very embarrassing story. But I felt that was an instrument that I could be quite express in depth with. And so I felt right from the start, this is for me. Yeah.
Brilliant. And then where did you go from deciding to choose a cello? So how did you then get into becoming an international cellist from there?
I had a couple of years, obviously, in this primary school, and won some scholarships to go to various teachers, including Margaret Moncrief in London, who encouraged me to go to Wells Cathedral School. But her husband wanted me to be a pianist, he was a piano professor at the Purcell School. He wanted me to go to the Purcell School. So I had to decide whether to be a cellist or a pianist. But for me, it was always the cello. So I was very lucky. I did the audition. I got a scholarship to Wells Cathedral School. And that was really life transforming for me, and I'm now involved with the school again, and that was just come full circle, so it was lovely. So yeah, that's how it all began.
Brilliant. Is it quite strange to be involved in the school again and go back to where you were? So
I love it. I mean, I had a pretty turbulent childhood, and then turbulent time through my 20s, and Wells Cathedral School for me it was almost like a utopia. It was completely different, healthy, beautiful experience where I think it was the making of me, and it's come full circle because everything I think I gained from Wells is now manifesting in my life now. So for me to go back to Wells feels utterly natural. It's like hand into glove, and it hasn't changed at all, which I love. It's 1,000 years old, this school. And I absolutely loved it. Every memory I have was a good one. So for me it was very formative.
Fantastic. And for if someone doesn't know what Wells Cathedral School is, why is it special for music?
It was one of the 4 specialist music schools. So there's Chetham's, Purcell, Menuhin and Wells. But Wells is slightly different because it's a specialist music school within a school. So it's not a hothouse, as it were. So it tended to produce quite healthy musicians and attitudes in an environment that was very rounded. Which it still is, of course. That hasn't changed. And I was attracted to the place mainly because of my teacher, but I completely fell in love with the stunning cathedral and the school. But also the idea that I wasn't just going to be with musicians all the time, and so your dormitory is maybe only one of you as a musician, which is incredibly good for you and quite grounding, because there's nothing special about you at all, which is always good. So Wells is quite unusual in that you are mixing with other people as well, and obviously it has a famous choir, and it's well known for sport and science and maths and all these other things. So the education was great. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, fast forwarding ahead to the modern day. Well, maybe not quite fast forwarding that much, but you're now heavily involved and initial founding of the North Yorkshire Music Festival.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about what sort of inspired you to start a whole festival up here in such stunning surroundings?
Yes, I started coming up to North Yorkshire, and I've always felt connected to the area. My father was actually from Lancashire, but I always felt the North was for me. And I started performing out. I've performed here in Whitby. I mean, gosh, about 20 years ago. And it was such a stunning experience because the people were passionate. It was the wonderful audiences, and the landscape was just awesome. I mean, I totally fell in love with it. So every month I used to come up and visit a very dear friend, and I started doing concerts, putting on concerts. They started to sell out, so I started doing more concerts. Because I try out repertoire before going to the Wigmore Hall or Cadogan Hall or something, and I try them out here in the local churches and things. And I found that there was a huge appetite for music in this area, and really passionate, interesting, cultured people. Then I thought, well, I'm enjoying this concert series and I'm enjoying the promotion of it, but they keep selling out, so I need to probably put more on. And I had an idea then. I thought, well, actually, I think a festival in the middle of August when the heather's out and it's stunning, I think I'd quite like to try that. So I went straight headlong into a 2-week long. I mean, I don't know why I chose 2 weeks, but
so full on into it.
Full on into it. 13 concerts. And, I didn't think about it. I just thought that would be great, and
it'd be dead easy.
Yeah. And we had a local artist that we commissioned artwork to be the branding of the cover, and every year we commissioned a new piece of art. And it was an absolute revelation because it sold out in the first year, which I didn't expect. So I thought there were so many concerts, they're not going to come to everything, and it was only meant to be a one-off. And I thought, well, let's see how it goes. Maybe too much. But it wasn't just the fact that it was electrifying with all these wonderful audience and getting my colleagues together and doing these concerts. But I love the entrepreneurial side. I love the marketing. I did too much in the first year. I did the box office. I did the tickets. I did the pouring the wine. I did
so every possible hat imaginable.
Yes, a kind of ridiculous actually. I've learned to delegate since, so I have a wonderful team. But I wanted to be hands-on to try it out, and I really loved it. I loved the logistics, getting people together, the thrill of that for me was a revelation. So we're now entering year 9, which I can't quite believe, but
it's certainly an incredible journey, and it's amazing to see concerts selling out in what you'd think would be a rural location, and yet it's still such a high attendance.
Well, I mean, and also we really push the audiences. We put on some radical music. Peter Maxwell Davis, who was our patron for 3 years before he died, he'd write music for us, and we premiere it in the festival to his Naxos quartets. We had Schoenberg, string trio, Berg lyrics, and really tough. But I wanted, and it was all in context, and there's a reason for it. It wasn't just randomly trying to push the audience, but part of a narrative, part of a story, because we always have a theme each year. And I thought, well, this is going to challenge them, and it might dip. The audiences might dip, and they might go, "What are you doing?" But actually, it kind of the opposite happened. And people thought, well, this is interesting, and we're being educated, and I want to know more about this. And we're not there to massage people's senses. We're there to make people think and feel something. And so I was thrilled because, and most of our audience is 75% local. So when you think, gosh, this is a local rural community who's open-minded and passionate enough to sit through Berg's lyric suite with Naxos number 6 by Maxwell Davis. and there was one particular concert where we did Schoenberg string trio and Maxwell Davis string trio and something. And there was this queue around the church. It was completely full. And there was this critic who came because he saw the programme and thought, well, actually, I have to see this for a laugh because there'll be 2 men and a dog in the middle of the North York Moors. And he saw a field of cars, and he admitted to me later, he said, I thought, how foolish of Jamie to put on a concert when there's an agricultural show going at the same time. So he got near the church and he saw this, and he said, you're here for the concert? Yes. And what, Schoenberg and Maxwell? Yes. And he thought, I don't believe it. So there's a set audience who trust what you do, and they're open-minded, which is wonderful because it means that we can really explore interesting themes and take people places which they didn't think they could go to. So we're not held back by, gosh, we need to be commercial to sell tickets. We need to make sure that, we keep tickets very, very cheap so anybody can come. I'm very passionate about breaking down the boundaries and it being non-elitist. But at the same time, bringing all these people, I want them to have a serious experience. And us musicians have trained all these years to be able to do that, not just play, Mozart string trios all the time, which they're lovely, but I think it's important to open people's minds and hearts.
Certainly, and you were saying earlier about doing concerts at the Wigmore Hall and using this as preparation.
Yes.
Do you find there's a difference in the audiences between London or, say, New York or Yorkshire and things?
Big
difference.
I do. I put on concert series throughout the year as well, not just in the festival, because I always say to colleagues of mine, look, if you've got an important concert coming up at the Wigmore or somewhere, if you want to try it out first, we're here for you. And that often happens, or people form new groups and they say, we'd like to try out, But I have repeated programmes at the Wigmore or King's Place or somewhere. And it's just a completely different experience. They're just different. One isn't better than the other, but it's just, there's a freedom here. And you feel that you have a bit more leeway to express something slightly more risky in a sense, and that offers a very different interpretation to what you're doing. So for me, it's thrilling to perform around here, because you've got an audience there who knows you, or they haven't got any preconceptions, and I just think the intentions are different. But it's just a very different experience. I don't want to put London down.
No, certainly.
So I lived there for 20 years, so I'm not being disloyal or anything.
Exactly, yes. Well, it's great to see that the con series is evolving all the time, and that new things keep coming out of it. Yes. So most recently, there's now your new record label that has sprung forth from this.
So God, nothing else.
13 concerts isn't that much.
I know, no. I mean, I think this came about. I'd done a lot of recording. I did the concertos that I wanted to do. There's 13 of them. There's Lutoslavsky I want to do, but I finished with the concertos. A few more sonatas, but then I really wanted to focus on chamber music, because it's my main passion. And I love playing the elgar, I love travelling and playing concertos things, but it's just one aspect of what I do, and I find collaborative music making with colleagues the most rewarding, and the repertoire in chamber music is kind of the greatest that ever was. So I felt we've done about 400 concerts now, and we must have played about 300 works. So I thought, well, and a lot of people were saying, well, where could we buy recordings of this? Or you must record that. We'd love to hear, we'd love to leave your festival and have, be able to play it later. So I thought, well, the only way I'm going to really do this as I want is to set up a record label and try to capture and distill that spirit that we have in the festival and beyond into the ethos of this label, which is to create that chemistry, that vibrancy, that synergy, in a way that isn't too over-edited and sterile, if you know what I mean. Yes. I mean, there's a lot of that goes on, and I wanted to start capturing the thing that we have, which is very exciting and something that you almost can't bottle, but I'm going to try. So I set it up last year, and we launched with a deeply uncommercial repertoire, which is a world premiere of Maxwell Davis' piece he wrote for us called Sea of Cold Flame, and Britain's Lacrimée, and all the commercial stuff.
Yes.
And because I'm not really bothered about whether it's commercial or not. The important thing for me is that the message is clear and the intentions are clear, and if whatever feels right has to be right, regardless of whether it sells or not. That's not really the important thing. It's a document of what we represent, and we've recorded the Claire Sonats, the Schoenberg, and another tuneful one, and Strauss's Metamorphosen, and Ravel. We've just recorded Ravel Piano Trio and his duo. We're going to release that in May, and a couple of weeks' time I'm doing the Arpeggione with Dicta Lieber and Brian Lieber and Laban, these two wonderful singers, Anna Huntley and James Newby, Rising Stars. I wanted to capture Rising Stars as well. So there's a lot of... We'll see how it develops, but I want to just get so much repertoire and get the spirit out there and have its own identity, its own sound, and be the kind of the sister of the festival, if you like. It's an expression of how I feel music should sound or be. So I'm really wanting this to go in the same direction as how the festival's developed.
Certainly. And if someone's watching this and wants to know more about either the festival or the record label itself, where would they find more information? Two
websites, northfieldmoors.festival.com and arielclassical.com. Ariel spelled with a Y, A-Y-R-I-E-L, classical.com. But yes, please go and have a look and come on board.
Fantastic. And I'll put all the links in the description below as well. So I think it's just about time to find out a little bit more about you. So it's time for your rapid fire questions.
Oh, goodness.
To put you on the spot.
First record I bought was the Hoodie Menyon playing Bach Violin Concerto in A minor. Berg Violin Concerto. Arthur Grimio playing solo Bach. I don't just listen to violin music, by the way. It just happens to be in the questions you've asked. I would take my cello, obviously. I would take... Can I have my Lynn system for playing music? Fantastic. My copper pans, because I'm a passionate cook and I'd have to use my copper pans. My wine cellar. And can I take the garden? Is it allowed? Or if it's an object, or my cat. Both, either. Perfectly together. Guilty pleasure. Oh, French wine. David Bowie. Oh, Dawn French's Dining Room. At the moment, it has to be the brand new Cedars Hall at Wells Cathedral School. It's stunning. J.S. Bach. Probably when I performed all the Bach suites in one sitting by candlelight. Cooking. Be patient. Aim deeper, not higher.